When a bakery with your name on it opens up 2 blocks from your house, you think the world and the universe is speaking to you. Turns out it's just calling you to eat everything that they make.
Almond croissants coming at you.
Welcome to Andy's.
Hi.
This is Andy.
Yeah. You're also Andy.
I'm the other Andy today.
Both Andys here to serve.
You're making the breakfast sandwiches?
Yeah.
Well, let me say I personally appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Of course. We got to have a little bit of fun and celebrate small business in Kentucky. Most jobs created every year in Kentucky are from small businesses, so we lift up Andy's, we lift up everybody else, they do all right. Thank you all.
Wonderful, Governor. Just perfect, man.
You got lots of pictures.
Thanks for
We
my
did,
very
we
short
did.
internship.
Oh, thank you. We're
So.
so delighted to have you.
No, it was fun.
This isn't just a big project, because we went back and checked the books. This will be the largest single investment in the history of West Kentucky. Let's thank this company again. It's gonna bring the Paducah Gaseous Diffusion Plant back to life. Now, with America looking to supercharge emerging technologies like AI once again, it's us, it's our Commonwealth and our workforce that's being asked to step up for this nation. This is the story of Kentucky. The energy produced from our lands and from the sweat of our hard-working people helped grow our nation into a global economic powerhouse. As excited as I am of what's going on in Kentucky, record economic success, we must recognize we are failing to provide our children with the good start they deserve. Pre-K for all is a step we must take to boost our economy, to strengthen our workforce, to better educate our kids, and to put more money in the pockets of our hardworking Kentucky families. It is a win, win, win for our people. I know it's the right thing to do. As a dad and as governor, there's nothing more important than making sure that all of our children at least have the opportunity to succeed. We need Pre-K for all to make sure every child in every corner of the Commonwealth gets that chance.
In Kentucky, we're moving forward together. Our businesses are winning, and our families are thriving. Because Kentucky is a place where business is fast, but the pace of life is just right. We found the way to create a brighter future by working together, by leading with our values of kindness and hard work. Now, we're looking at a new Kentucky, one where good jobs and a good life are possible for everyone. Y'all interested? We don't blame you. So come explore your new Kentucky home.
A lot of it was investment and preparing for this moment. Today, I'm in Bowling Green because Site Selection Magazine recently announced that for the 2nd straight year, y'all are #1 in the country in economic development. Economic development is the ultimate team sport, from the state to the county to the city to the economic development groups to the local business owners. It's even that person that smiles at somebody from out of town when they're getting a cup of coffee and that person says, "Oh, that's what it'd be like to live here." And I know it's a lot of work, and I'm proud of you for doing that work. You're leading the way. You're showing other Kentucky communities how it's possible, and that if we work together, we can bring those great paying jobs to every community.
Hi, it's Rachel. Stay tuned. The Team Kentucky update will start soon.
95% of the world's bourbon is made in Kentucky. The other 5% is counterfeit. You can tell a Kentucky bourbon because it's good. You can tell a bourbon made outside of Kentucky because it's not. Wenzel is another great company, adding to the bourbon trail, adding to our tourism, making sure that Northern Kentucky continues to be a really important part of this bourbon economy. We see people coming by the thousands every day and every week in Kentucky to be introduced to us and our way of life because of bourbon. They stay and go through our restaurants and our shops. It brings more people and more dollars to our community. It is part of the fabric of who we are, and it is an industry that we proudly support.
We're con- Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. Today's update comes at a tough time. It is the 24th anniversary of September 11th, the most devastating terrorist attack on the United States in our history. One where I and many other people lost someone they care about, but one where we look back each and every year and recognize the bravery of first responders who ran into danger, many of which lost their lives. We're going to recognize September 11th near the end of today's update, and we have some of our heroes that are here with us today. I also know that yesterday we saw a horrific act of violence. Political violence or any violence is never, ever, ever the answer. And today we're going to try to start with some positive news because I think we're all in that place where we need to see some of that light, some of that positivity. So we'll start where we normally start these updates, and that's with our red hot economy. Since I became governor, we've now announced over 1,200 new location and expansion projects for a record $43 billion in new investment and the creation of over 63,200 new jobs. We like to celebrate each of these announcements, and we have a new one today. Earlier this week, we announced that Augmentum Arc, a newly formed technology company, is planning to move its headquarters and research and development operations to Bowling Green. The $475,000 project is expected to generate at least 24 good-paying jobs. This includes jobs for scientists, engineers, technicians, and administrators. The investment establishes the company's North American hub for fiber optic development, as well as manufacturing of advanced technologies for both commercial and national defense markets. I want to thank Augmentum Arc's leadership for their investment, and I want to welcome them to their new Kentucky home. And just yesterday, Lieutenant Governor Coleman joined local officials and leadership from Health Track RX to cut the ribbon on its new operation in Louisville, a $45.5 million project creating 230 full-time jobs. The new operation is the company's largest and most advanced laboratory to date. I want to thank the company's leadership for believing in the Commonwealth and congratulate them on this great milestone. All right, this week we're also recognizing our historically Black colleges and universities for National HBCU Week. I am proud that we have President of Simmons College of Kentucky, Dr. Kevin Cosby, as well as Kentucky State University President, Dr. Kofi Akapo, here with us. Here in Kentucky, we value our HBCUs. We know that education is the key to a brighter future, and Simmons College of Kentucky and Kentucky State University transform lives on a daily basis. That's why my administration has made it a priority and will continue to make it a priority to support these schools. We implemented new signs and historic markers to recognize and celebrate Kentucky's HBCUs. We wanted people traveling through Kentucky to know what we place value on and how critical we view these two great institutions. Now, when folks drive by these signs, they see the significant role that Simmons and KSU play in our Commonwealth. In 2021, I was also proud to sign legislation to support our HBCUs. This helps students attending Simmons or KSU receive tuition grants and encourage collaboration between the two schools to help more students, particularly in West Louisville, to attend. These schools don't just serve the students enrolled, they also help lift up fellow Kentuckians and communities. Through those efforts, Team Kentucky's partnered with both Simmons and KSU to create opportunities and programs to support health, teacher preparation, second chances, and more. Both of my kids, Will and Lila, are in high school right here in Frankfort. They will both receive associate's degrees from Kentucky State University at the end of high school, something I'm really proud of. I'm grateful for both of these schools and the positive impact that they are making on my family, but mainly on Kentucky and beyond. So I am proud to celebrate them this week and every week in Kentucky. So I'd ask our two presidents if you join me up here and make a few comments about your amazing institutions in this very important week. Please. Okay.
Thank you so much, Governor, and to Lieutenant Governor Coleman, and to my colleague at Kentucky State, President Akupo. I'd like to first of all thank Governor Andy Beshear for his support of historical Black colleges and universities in our Commonwealth, both Simmons and Kentucky State. The motto of the United Negro College Fund is, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but it is also a wonderful thing to invest in." The investments that we're making in Kentucky's HBCUs is having a profound impact and a positive effect upon our Commonwealth. The Greeks used to tell the story of how human beings were jealous and envious of the gods who had intelligence. The gods wanted to monopolize their intelligence And so they hid intelligence away from human beings. They hid it in the mountains, but human beings went looking to the mountains and almost found it. They hid it in the valleys, and human beings went to the valleys and almost found it. Until one God said, well, I know a place where we can hide intelligence where they will never look. And the God said, hide intelligence in their brains because they'll never look to their brains to find intelligence. HBCUs are helping students to find intelligence by cultivating their brains. And this administration in our state has done a great job in helping to assist, I know, Kentucky State and Simmons College of Kentucky. Thank you so much, Governor Beshear, for the platform you've given us.
Well, thank you, Governor. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and all the leaders in the room for allowing us the opportunity to be here this afternoon with you all. I do agree with the Governor. HBCUs play a key role in our nation. Despite our small number, we graduate 20% of all the Black students. We also play a crucial role in transforming lives every day. If you take the case of Kentucky State University, we're the third research institution in Kentucky. Our land-grant mission allows us to do research, education, and extension. We're present in all 120 counties in the Commonwealth. And our goal is to continue to build on this success so we can together help the governor and our elected leaders to move our Commonwealth forward. Thank you again.
Thank you to both of these great leaders. I think about how Dr. Cosby, I almost want to use the word resurrect, but he's a pastor. Simmons and the effort that he and so many others have put in, it's just amazing to see the great things that are happening. And our great president of Kentucky State University really coming in at a time, making changes that needed to be changed, getting it on a path towards solvency so it can continue to help so many people out there. Thank you all so much for your leadership. And I want to close this segment the way I started. We are proud of our HBCUs. In Kentucky, we still believe diversity is a strength, never a weakness. And no matter who else is trying to attack programs that ultimately help everybody achieve, we are going to support those programs, support these universities, support our people, because I think we can do this in a way that lifts everybody up, that leaves no one out, but certainly gives at least the opportunity for prosperity for every single Kentuckian. All right, next we have some good news for our communities recovering from natural disasters. Remember, we're rebuilding on both fronts here in Kentucky, from the tornadoes in 2021 to the floods in 2022, and we ain't leaving anybody behind. Just a week ago, I was in Mayfield and Princeton dedicating 2 homes. I think this had to have been the 60th or 70th group of homes out of the 200 plus that we've had a part in building. But whoever gets the very last home, the last family helped, is just as important as the first. And we wanted to be there to celebrate with these 2 single moms raising kids that had been through so much and shown so much resilience. So today, we have some more good news. Last year, I announced that we're building nearly 1,000 rental units across the western Kentucky counties hit by these tornadoes. Those rental homes will be built in Christian, Graves, Hopkins, and Warren counties. This was the largest affordable housing, largest single affordable housing announcement that we had made in Kentucky's history. And now that announcement is becoming a reality. Just this past week, SoCar, the developer, closed on 3 properties. 294 rental units will go on those properties. 66 at the new Commonwealth Court in Mayfield, 48 at the new Marketplace Commons in Dawson Springs, Kentucky, and 180 at the new Emory Flats in Bowling Green. We expect to see the construction begin in the coming month, and I can't tell you how excited I am for these new Kentucky homes because rentals, remember, was that part that FEMA didn't invest in, was that part of rebuilding where I had the greatest concerns. And thanks to some really innovative thinking between the Housing Corporation and our Department of Local Government, we did something that I think has never been done before, putting some funds together and creating this amazing opportunity.
You know, when you don't worry about right or left, you just focus on moving forward, you can get some real things done. And I am glad, more than glad, overjoyed that we are delivering for people who've been through so much trauma that'll now have that safe place to call home. Now let's talk about rebuilding from the floods of 2022. We are building on 8 high ground communities across Eastern Kentucky. I believe that is the most ambitious rebuilding program in our country's history, as we're moving people out of the valleys where they will continue to flood up onto high ground on abandoned coal mine sites where they know they are safe. We are not only lifting up our survivors, but we're addressing affordable housing in Eastern Kentucky all at the same time. We've completed 2 of the 8 sites in Wayland. 14 homes are finished and every one is occupied. At the cottages of Thompson Branch in Letcher County, we finished 10 homes. In Floyd County, we've broken ground on New Hope Estates in Prestonsburg. That'll eventually have 34 homes. At Skyview in Perry County, we're planning for nearly 100 homes, some of which are already going up and under roof, and we know who the first homeowners are going to be. At Grandview in Letcher County, we've announced funding to build the roads in the neighborhood, and today we have some good news for the Chestnut Ridge community in Knott County. We're awarding a first tranche of money, $6 million, to build the first 30 homes on the state's part of that site. The funding will be $2 million to Homes Inc., $2 million to Frontier Housing, and $2 million to the Housing Development Alliance. These 3 nonprofits have been helping us rebuild across Eastern Kentucky. They bring it to every site that they invest in, and we could not have announced a better starting 3 partners. Each developer is going to build 10 homes in this first tranche. We have many more announcements for Chestnut Ridge on the way. We expect to break ground on these homes before the end of the year, and at Chestnut Ridge, we expect to have over 200 homes for flood survivors. These are people and people and communities that have been through the worst. They deserve the best, and these homes are coming up one after another after another. And every time someone's handed a set of keys and their kids are able to run through a house and pick out their room, we know we've lived up to the promise and the commitment that we made. Our journey to rebuild in Eastern Kentucky is an inspiring one. And today, I'm proud to announce that we're ready to share this with the world with Rising. This is a documentary from Team Kentucky that tells the story and strength and resilience of Eastern Kentuckians. It highlights our efforts to undertake that most ambitious rebuilding efforts in the nation following the 2022 floods with our high ground communities. This 60-minute film includes voices from state, local, and federal leaders, as well as flood survivors, nonprofit partners, first responders, and more. Here is a look at the trailer.
It was just a matter of minutes and it got up to my chest.
It was terrifying. We were sure people were going to get washed away.
The Kentucky National Guard saying 400 people have been rescued by helicopter.
One mother says she used the cord from her vacuum cleaner to tie herself to her 2 children, hoping it would help keep them alive, and in the worst case, their bodies would be found together.
We had a totally new floodplain after this flood.
It was like a war zone.
Our people deserve better than this.
Eastern Kentucky saw the worst of Mother Nature, but the world saw the best of Team Kentucky.
This is something the likes of which we have never seen, which means we need a response that is the same.
I never thought it was truly going to get better, but I'm able to stand here today and say that it did get better.
So this could be the event that wiped us out, or it could be a catalyst to making some real change.
It's been a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it.
This is a really special film that our team has worked incredibly hard on. It was produced and edited by Team Kentucky with support from the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet and the Cabinet for Economic Development. I'm proud that we'll be premiering the film next Thursday, September 18th at the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg. There will be a reception, a screening of the film, and a roundtable with some of our local leaders about the work that they have put in. Seats are limited, so please RSVP by visiting rising.ky.gov. There you'll find the event RSVP link and more information on the documentary. The film is free to view.
We're just asking that if folks are able, they donate to the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. Our hope is that in any way we're able to place this documentary, it generates dollars to help us build more houses on those high ground sites. Just think about it. Telling our story and the world wanting to hear it can provide more resources for the families that went through everything in this film. Again, all proceeds go directly to help storm survivors across our Commonwealth. So today, I'm also glad that we have our Lieutenant Governor, Jacqueline Coleman, with us to recognize Adult Education and Family Literacy Week in Kentucky.
Thank you, Governor. I'm so proud to be with you all today to talk about the importance of adult education and how it's truly making a difference in the lives of Kentucky families. The Governor has proclaimed September 15th to the 19th as Adult Education and Family Literacy Week in Kentucky. And also September 16th, 2025 is the GED Grad Day in Kentucky. And so I want to take an opportunity to recognize all of our GED graduates. Team Kentucky continues to make outstanding gains in helping Kentuckians open career pathways that once were previously closed. The most recent state data shows that the Office of Adult Education saw an incredible increase of 19% in total enrollment in services. That success is due to the hard work of the Kentucky Office of Adult Education and our statewide network of providers, in addition to our investment in adult education. Kentucky is red hot right now with our economy, and we know that businesses from around the world are choosing us. But we also know that our economic success depends on building a sustainable and skilled workforce. Since day one of this administration, the Governor and I have made education, training, and workforce development our top priority. In fact, one of the proudest moments that I can remember from the time we took office was in January of 2020, when we waived the testing fee for GED in Kentucky. Since then, nearly 27,000 Kentuckians have taken advantage of the free GED initiative. That's 27,000 families whose lives will be changed forever. And Kentucky's pass rate is 79%, which is higher than the national average of 74%. We're creating world-class educational and training opportunities by embracing a culture of lifelong learning. This will help workers acquire the skills that they need to remain relevant in a rapidly evolving workplace. We're working to expand apprenticeship opportunities throughout our Commonwealth where our citizens can earn as they learn on the job. And now we're going the extra mile, literally, to help our citizens attain their GED. The Governor announced in July that the Office of Adult Education would begin taking GED testing on the road to remove yet another barrier for Kentuckians. Adult education officials will travel to more than 24 areas in the Commonwealth that lack access to brick and mortar buildings to offer in-person adult education services. This transformative step will help make education accessible to everyone and help us build a better Kentucky that works for everyone. So on behalf of Team Kentucky, congratulations to all of our GED graduates. We are so proud of your courage and resilience, and we hope that we have more and more to add to the chorus of people who have graduated now with their GED. Thank you, Governor.
September is Hunger Action Month. As governor, I'm laser focused on the challenges that face our families every day. And that means making sure that every Kentucky family has enough food. At least 710,000 Kentuckians are facing hunger. That's 1 in 6 people across our state. And it includes 1 in 5 children. And the Commonwealth continues to have the nation's highest rate of hunger among older adults. These aren't just statistics, they're our neighbors, our family, and our friends. No Kentucky family should have to choose between putting food on the table and a roof over their head. We have an obligation to take care of our neighbors. I'm reminded that every book of the gospel has the miracle of the fishes and the loaves, every single one. That means if you're a person that shares my faith, it's a big deal. It means that in a country where we grow enough food for everyone, no one should go hungry. Unfortunately, now even more Kentuckians are at risk of hunger due to the dangerous SNAP cuts in the president's big, ugly bill. I wrote to our congressional delegation urging them to oppose any steps that undermine those benefits. More than 600,000 of our people rely on this vital support. Again, that's 1 out of every 8 Kentuckians. Our government should be fighting hunger, not causing it, and our country deserves better. Solving hunger isn't a partisan issue. It's not right versus left. It's simply right versus wrong. That's why my administration has worked hard to fight hunger through launching multiple programs to provide good, healthy food to our students. Our students can't learn. We can't improve those reading and math scores if they show up for school hungry. It's why we've worked to eliminate wait lists for meals for seniors, and we've delivered over 17 million meals. It's how we supported food banks and pantries across the Commonwealth, and how the First Lady has continued her work with Shop and Share to make sure food donations seek domestic violence shelters so those survivors and their kids have a safe place to go and a meal waiting for them when they flee from danger. But we know there's still more work to do, and we'll keep fighting to end hunger here in the Commonwealth. For those interested in joining the fight, visit feedingky.org or your local food pantry. And your local food pantry is going to need more help now than ever before. So if you can help, please do. If you've been waiting to find that cause that you can jump into, this is one that's worth it. When you do it, you're helping everybody, and you're helping them solely based on need. And think about the fact that we live in a country where it would be possible for no child to ever go to bed with hunger pains or wake up not being able to focus because of hunger. That is within our grasp, but only if we take action and continue to work for that better world. All right, finally, like we started, today is a tough day for Americans as we remember the terrorist attack that took place 24 years ago. In just a matter of hours, nearly 3,000 people were killed. If you are around my age or older, you know exactly where you were when the first tower was hit, and then unbelievably the second. You remember where you were when the first tower started to collapse, and you just couldn't believe it. I mean, that was a day that our nation was changed forever. September 11th's devastating toll includes 343 firefighters and paramedics. It remains the deadliest single day in U.S. fire service history. Now, a lot of people, rightfully, remember September 11th through grief or through anger, but we saw so much heroism that day. You saw the videos, and some saw it live, of thousands of people fleeing that part of Manhattan, but firefighters going right in. The idea that these firefighters, paramedics, and law enforcement officers that had their own family at home, knowing that they probably wouldn't get out but might have the chance to get somebody out, paying that ultimate sacrifice is something that we have to remember and have to honor. And we've got to continue to support their families. I was struck this morning watching the memorial in New York that started 24 years ago with a lot of small kids reading the names of their loved ones that are now in their 20s or in their 30s. I think it's really important that we do not lose track of the importance of 9/11, that we never stop honoring it, and that we have to teach it to the next generation. I remember when my son got his first assignment that dealt with it, and it took me a few minutes to find my emotions and to process through how to talk to my son about a very difficult day and a very difficult time. I lost a friend and a former college classmate, Ted Adderley Jr., that day. In September 2001, Ted was working in his first professional job as a financial advisor on the 93rd floor of the World Trade Center's North Tower. Today, Brittany and I are again thinking of Ted, his mother Mary Beth, and his loved ones. And as I went back 2 years ago and went through the museum there, I didn't know that they could have a tailored way to where you saw your friend in pictures and in recordings. I was struck that Ted's still 23 because he never got the chance to age another day or another year. There aren't any pictures of weddings. or of kids, you say the same age, lost to us as the rest of us have had the great fortune of having so many experiences in life. So today, as we remember those lost and honor their families, we've got to recommit to never forgetting. Now known as Patriot Day, we also remember the courage and bravery of the first responders that risked and lost their lives. And we remember that our first responders can be called upon to make that sacrifice on any day. One of the positives that's come out of 9/11 is we're able to honor the bravery of every single first responder, every single firefighter during these days, and recognize the danger in their job, but also show them our gratitude. So today, to recognize their efforts, I'm proud that we have Lexington Fire Department Chief Jason Wells with us to share a little bit about his feelings on 9/11, but also the incredible work that his department does. Chief? Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor, for your profound words and for the incredible honor of speaking with you all on this solemn day. In the fire service and across our nation, we hold fast to two words: never forget. That is our promise, to always remember the sacrifices made on September 11th, 2001. Today, we make good on that promise. 343 firefighters, 441 total first responders, 2,977 souls lost. Each one we remember today. We also remember the thousands of service members who gave their lives protecting us in the war on terror. We shall never forget their honor, their courage, or their ultimate sacrifice. But I also want to remind you that tomorrow marks the 24th anniversary of September 12th. If September 11th revealed the worst of humanity, September 12th revealed the very best of us, our unity, our resolve, and our shared strength. In the days, the weeks, the months after 9/11, we were reminded that what unites us is always greater than that which divides us. On this solemn day, may we honor the courage and sacrifice of September 11th, but may we always be inspired by the unity of September 12th. Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you to the chief, and certainly for everything our firefighters and first responders do every single day for us. They are this week's Team Kentucky All-Stars. I was also listening to the chief, and what an important message for us with everything else we're dealing with as a country. In times of senseless violence, we have a choice to come together or to further fan the flames that drive us apart. As we think back on that day that we so violently lost almost 3,000 people, we saw an example afterwards where people were at their very best. And that's where I hope our country will go. Again, violence is never the answer, ever. And I hope that every leader out there will answer the question whether they believe violence is never the answer, ever, or violence is never the answer if directed towards people like them. It's got to be the first if we're going to continue to be the great country that we are. All right, there'll be no Team Kentucky update next week. I know everybody's really upset. Remember, you can follow our great news from around the Commonwealth on our social media channels. We'll see you back on Thursday, September 25th at 1 p.m. With that, we'll turn it over to our journalists. We have 1 in studio, 3 on the line. We'll start with Megan from WLEX. I'd never met Charlie Kirk, at least to my knowledge. Yeah.
Hearing the news, I know you issued a statement online.
Yeah.
Your initial reaction to that has to hit hard.
Yeah. Aside from anything else, Charlie Kirk was a human being. My faith teaches me that all children are children of God, and one was just ripped away from us way too early. And whether or not I agree or disagreed with anything he said, he's got 2 little kids at home that love their dad like my kids love me. It's an incredibly violent moment that should never happen anywhere. And again, we've seen rightfully everybody speaking out against it.
but it can't be used to further divide this country and shouldn't be. Let's just stand up against violence each and every time, period. And I know that there are some folks out there that are probably hurting. Listen, I lost not just someone that I'd met once or twice, not just someone I looked up to. I lost one of my closest friends in a mass shooting in Louisville. I know how much it hurts. I know how angry it can make you, but anger doesn't help us heal. Anger doesn't help us make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. And lashing out at groups of people cannot be the answer to creating a better Commonwealth and a better country. Okay.
We've seen condemnation across the political spectrum, but we know words only go so far. What concrete steps have to happen so that this violence stops?
Yeah, we have seen widespread condemnation, and what we've got to see is it happening not just when there is an act of violence, but when people's rhetoric could create violence. You can't fan the flames and then condemn the fire. So what I'd like to see is leaders on every side condemning the type of speech that just goes too far, that suggests that one group of people aren't American or don't deserve to be here, or incites violence in different ways. I'd like to see us speak out against all of that. Now, here in the Commonwealth, I also think that we don't have a lot of the tools that other states have to prevent, whether it's an act like this or certainly some of the school shootings that we've seen. And that's pretty simple. It's a red flag law. I think a red flag law allows law enforcement to go to the courts when they know somebody's about to commit murder and hopefully stop it before it starts. I know some might be worried about Second Amendment rights, but that's what a court's for, to uphold the Constitution. It's the right place to go. And if we allow a court to decide custody of our children, certainly we can trust its judgment when law enforcement think a murder is about to occur. All right, next we've got on the line Isaiah from WHAS.
Hi, Governor. Thanks for taking the time. I have two questions. I wanted to start with one on charter schools. Do you envision a Kentucky with charter schools? And if so, how would they be funded? And the second question, some Republicans here in Louisville are calling for Kentucky State Police assistance for highway traffic enforcement to allow LMPD free them up for some of their responsibilities locally. Would you be open to that? Thank you.
On the second question, that's something that we've discussed. We want to make sure that we're being a good partner to all of our local law enforcement units, that they are able to put as many of their officers on the streets as possible. That's one of those reasonable type of solutions, along with raising pay for law enforcement and first responders that can help make our communities potentially safer, not just for a day or a week, but in the long term. His first question was? Oh, the first question was on charter schools. Again, that's kind of a phrase that can mean a lot of things. If people are talking about private charter schools, they should not exist in Kentucky because state funds cannot go to non-public schools. The idea there is that public schools, that people argue public schools aren't doing well enough or aren't improving. So let's create a totally different group of schools that have none of the same rules and regulations and give them flexibility. Well, how about you give a lot of that same flexibility to our public schools? If you're going to pass a lot of rules that constrain them and then blame them for the result, how about you give them the same flexibility that you look at charters? And listen, the answer can't be to divert just some small group of students to some different system. The answer has to be one that lifts everyone up, and that is better investing in our public school system. Now, there's a question under the law of whether there's such thing as a public charter school that would be governed by the school district. I think there you've got to look at all the different details. I certainly believe in magnet schools. I certainly believe in programs within schools that may help students that are struggling or excelling. But in the end, let's invest in public school and let's give them as much flexibility as we can with the appropriate oversight to succeed. Tom Latek, Kentucky Today. Okay, Austin Horn, Lexington Herald Leader.
Thank you, Governor. I'm just wondering, you've got a newfound national profile. It's kind of on the rise, and this comes at a time where we're seeing a lot of political violence, just in general, assassinations, attempts, like we saw yesterday. Does that worry you for your safety or for your family?
Yesterday was certainly concerning for everyone. For me, sadly, we've been through a number of threats. We had threats during the pandemic, threats similar to what happened yesterday that had me leave the Capitol in a lot of different ways. We had the armed group that went past all of the barriers in the executive mansion and pounded on the door demanding I come out. And when they found out, surprise, I wasn't there. They hung me in effigy. You saw the plot to kill Gretchen Whitmer. You saw the firebombing of Josh Shapiro's house. You saw the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. You've seen what happened to Charlie Kirk and certainly attempts on the life of the president. We see a lot of violence out there. I've got one of the best security details anybody could ever ask for. I have more people around me trying to protect me than a lot of Americans or a lot of people who are in these positions. So I worry less about me and my family because of my trust and the people that show up every day to protect us. But I do worry about others that are out there. In the end, we've just got to make sure that we never, ever accept what happened yesterday or the time before that. I mean, the former Minnesota Speaker of the House being murdered in her own home. So this is not red or blue. It's just wrong. And if we are going to let politics invade something so wrong as murder, well, we've got a lot more work to do to create that better world that our kids deserve. Or how about we leave it like this? We have a commitment not to leave a broken country to our kids, to leave a divided country to our kids, a country where that is boiling too hot, or where people are trying to constantly create an us versus a them and then dehumanize one side and encourage violence. That is not the country any of us want our kids to grow up in. And the answer to that will never be one side just agrees with everything that the other does. It's that we learn to get along better, or in the very least, to wish each other well, even when we disagree. So I know that's a tall order, especially with where we've seen things moving, but it's worth it. Remember, our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids are going to live in this country, and we have an obligation to leave it better off, not worse off than we found it. So again, a heavy week, a heavy couple days, but also 9/11 being a day we need to remember in our country's history, and a whole lot of people that we need to be thanking. So everybody, in this next week, when you see a firefighter, when you see a first responder, you thank them for what they do. Thank you very much. And thank you all.